Hey happy people. So today we are going to try to make a chowder. Of course it's cold outside, so a lot of soups and stews and things like that. So to get started here, there's a couple of things we must do first before we actually start putting our chowder together. The alkaline version here's version. We're going to try to do this all alkaline. So first thing we need to do here is we need to make our clam juice. That's usually put in chowders, a clam juice. So to get started here, let's move this back some. I got here, this is a half a cup of, this is a half a cup of seaweed broth. Now, I did cook some kamut. When I cooked the kamut itself, I put dose flakes and nori sheets in there. It was about a half of a teaspoon of dose flakes and a half of a sheet of nori. And after that, I did not drain the water and throw it away. I strained the water. Well, I didn't strain the water. I just pulled all the kamut out. And I had left over the dose flakes, the liquid, and things like that. So this is going to be our seaweed broth. And we have here, this is some aquafaba. We're going to pour that in there. And we got some key lime juice here. And we're just going to give that a nice little stir. There's still seaweed in there. That is fine with me. If you don't want the seaweed in there, just don't put it in there. Just mix that up pretty good there. There we go. And we're going to set that to the side. So now we have our clam juice. So we're going to be ready to put that in our chowder here. Our chowder here. Alright, now, so next we need to make what would be our cream. That usually goes in clam chowder. Give it all that nice rich creaminess. So we're going to need our blender here. Got that. And I got my walnuts here. This is 1 cup of soaked walnuts. They were soaked overnight. Also, the kamut grain was soaked overnight. I suggest soaking your nuts and grains overnight. That just is better for you, for your blender and for your digestion. Alright. So 1 cup of soaked walnuts. And then here I have some more of the seaweed broth that came off of the kamut. And it still has some of the seaweed in there. That is fine too. Then we got 3 tablespoons of chickpea flour. You can use whatever flour you like. I'm just using chickpea today. And then we got our milk here. This is a Brazil nut milk today. You do not have to use Brazil nut. You can use walnut, hemp seed, whatever you make your milk with. Just don't use dairy milk. Right now, so, there's a walnut. We are just going to blend this up, get a nice smooth creaminess here. Why I'm doing this, I'm going to run the ingredients right here with the measurements because I don't remember all the measurements right now, and I always get tongue-tied in these videos. I get, well, anyway. But I'll run the ingredients right here while I actually blend this up. Alright, so we got our cream ready now. We can put that to the side. Give me just a minute. I am going to remove this and put our burner up here so we can start making our chowder. Be right back. Alright, so now we have, I have moved my blender and I got my eye here. I have a pot here. This has some grapeseed oil in there. And we're going to start out first. It's already heated. I have here, this is 2.5 tablespoons of the alkaline minced not so garlic. MrStayHappy.com. MrStayHappy.com. People message me, email me, text me. What do you use in where do I get the seasonings? I say this in almost every video that I use the seasonings. It is MrStayHappy.com. It is always in the description box where you can get all your alkaline pantry needs. My oil is getting too hot. Alright, so we're going to pour that in there. Get that going there, get the oil all nice and fragrant. All right, now, so next we have here, oh, let's take that off. Next I have here in this bowl, I have one whole yellow onion, and this is a small fennel bulb. I did use the whole bulb itself. It was very small. If you have like a medium size or a large, you use like a half or a third of that. Remember, you always need to cook your fennel first because your fennel is going to be tougher. It's a little harder to get soft. A little harder to get soft. Is that what I'm trying to say? It takes a little longer to get softer. That's what I'm trying to say. So we're going to go ahead and start dropping my fennel in there, and some, well, just drop the whole thing, the onions and the fennel in there. And we're going to go ahead and just saute these down. And actually, while I'm doing that, we're going to go ahead and add our butternut squash here. This is about a cup of butternut squash I have just cubed. What we're going to do is just saute these down till they're nice and soft. That's it. Make sure your fennel and your butternut squash will cook down pretty good. Alright, so I'm just going to go get my lid and put on this so it'll help cook it down a little faster. I'll be right back. Alright, I am back. My veggies have sauteed down here. They are softer here. So now, I'm going to turn my heat down a little bit. While I was off camera, when I came back and stirred it, I noticed they were sticking a little bit, so I did add a little bit of the seaweed broth, the kamut water basically, to it to keep it from sticking and to help my vegetables steam here, help them soften up a little faster. So now, we are going to add our seasonings here. I have all of these. I got some thyme, bay leaf, some basil, some sea salt, some dose flakes, some I don't know. Yeah, ingredients again right here, because I don't forgot. All right, all that goes in. Get this all mixed up here. Heat went up. Alright, now we're going to add our clam juice here. Again, if you don't want the seaweed in there, you don't have to have it in there. It's fine for me. And we're going to add our kamut grain here. My kamut has a little bit of seaweed in it too. Okay, just jump right out the pot. That's what we need right there. Now I'm just going to throw, these are some sprigs of the fennel bulb off the top. I'm going to throw a few of these in there. A lot of times people would add parsley. We are not adding parsley. Most of y'all know why. Alright, so just a few sprigs, a little bit. Again, remember that fennel is very strong, so don't go too far with that. Also, your kamut grain. This time I am using it again to replace corn, so I only cooked it for about 30 minutes. But if some chowders have rice in them, if you like rice in it, you want to be like rice, then you should cook it for at least 45 minutes. Alright, I think that should be enough. Just a few other sprigs there. Alright, so now we can add our cream here that we made. I'm going to pour the whole thing in there. Get that mixed up pretty good. Alright, so now I'm going to just let this come to a boil. I want my flour to cook through because we all know chickpea flour tastes like dirt by itself when it's raw. So I'm going to allow my flour to cook through and thicken up so I can see how much water I need. The water will be based on how thick you like your chowder to be. I've seen very runny chowders. I've seen so thick you could probably spread it on bread. Things like that. So it will just depend on how thick you want your chowder to be for the water. So we're going to let this come to a nice boil, let it thicken up, and then we'll come back, okay? Okay. Alright, so I have let this set here for about 5-10 minutes here, about 8 minutes or so. I did turn the heat down, and it has thickened up here, as you can see. I personally am not going to add any more liquid to this. I don't need any more water. I like the thickness of it now. I don't like it too thick where I can spread it like a paste, but I also don't like it so runny that I can drink it. So this is thick enough for me. Again, it's about you and your family, what y'all like. So if you like it to be a little thicker, I would add a little more chickpea flour with a little water. You know, make your little slurry first, pour it in there, let it thicken up, allow it to cook for a couple of minutes to let it thicken up, because it takes a minute for chickpea flour sometimes to thicken up before you keep adding more, because you don't want it to be so thick. Not unless you just really like it thick. If you like it thick, go right ahead, put as much as you want. But if you like it to be a little more runny, a little more thinner, of course add more water or veggie broth or seaweed broth, whatever you want to put in there as a liquid. Alright, so now we have two things left. Usually in your chowder you have potatoes. So today I have, these are some burro bananas I have just cut up. Well, no, these are not burro. I'm lying. These are baby bananas. I could not find burro. Well, I found some burro, but they were all yellow. That has been my issue. I did find some baby bananas, sometimes called Thai bananas. They were green. All I did was cut them up and saute them in a little grapeseed oil. I wanted to get the crispy edges because I didn't want them to just melt into the chowder. I wanted to have it like potatoes, those little pieces of potatoes in there. If you chop it up and don't cook it first, fry it off first, they will just meld in there. It'll be like mush. It'll be more like a mashed potato than actually chunks of potato. So we're going to add those. They are stuck together here, so let's get these in here. Some of them I cooked a little too long. A little darker than the rest. Alright, and to give us that clam flavor, that clam chewiness, that texture, I have here, this is some trumpet mushrooms, also called king oyster mushrooms. Again, I just cut them up and fried them up a little bit. If you fry them down a little bit, they give you that chewy taste like clams, that chewy texture like clams. If you don't fry them down, they'll be like mushy mushrooms, just mushy, like how you, after you soak them in like brine or something and not cook them off, that's what they'll be like. I don't think people are going to like that in the chowder, so I suggest you fry them off first. Alright, just get this all mixed up here. And all you want to do is just heat this through. Give your mushrooms and your burro, but I keep saying burro, but I don't have burro. Give your bananas time to heat up there. And again, this is where you want to check your water level, your liquid level, and your seasonings. Taste it at this point. Add as much seasoning as you like to it. If it's a little too seasoning for you, add some more water to thin out the broth. I am going to thin out my broth just a little bit. I don't want it to be that thick. That's spreadable right there on some toast. Give it a little bit. Everything warmed up. A little bit more water. Okay, so my chowder has cooked all the way through. The Bananas and mushrooms should be heated up just enough there. So I am now going to turn this off, and we are all finished. That is how I make my chowder, clam chowder. I pretty much used to like clam chowder when I ate seafood. So this is why I make it with those type of mushrooms. If you are not a clam chowder person, I know there's like a corn chowder, different chowders with different seafoods. You can definitely substitute. If you are doing the corn chowder, I would definitely up the amount of kamut in it. That is it. I don't know if y'all can see that real good there, but it looks good to me. So now I'm gonna give me a scoop here. Ooh, look at that. Look at that. And here we go. A little mushroom, a little potato. Ooh, take a little fennel there. Little onion. Yeah. All right. So warm and creamy. Warm and creamy. Yeah. Warm and creamy. So good. Alright, so that is it, people. That is how I make alkaline chowder. And until the next video, stay happy.
Stress.